good. Hopefully something stood out to you. Hopefully something was there mentally and kind of shook you a little bit. That's at times, guys, that's the purpose. That's why we're here, is to kind of kick ourselves around a little bit. So excellent. Let's dive in today then. So yeah, here it is. Feel free to pop on. All right, I want to talk about a handful of keys to success, ladies and gentlemen, and I want you guys to participate. So before I get into some that I've kind of outlined, what I've done is I've picked kind of 4 keys to success and some sub keys, right? So a couple of things that kind of fall under those different categories. What I want to know for you guys, when you think about success, and this is your definition of, this isn't my definition, this is going to be yours. And we've got a lot of people in a lot of different categories, and I'm going to put in, let's just add in a brand new slide. And if it'll do that, okay. So we get rid of the title. I'm going to delete this. If it'll do it for me. Come on now. Of course it won't. All right, so either in comments or for yourself. Why is this doing this? Cut it. There we go. Okay. What are some keys that you guys have found to success? Either things that people have said to you, things that were shared, things that you've kind of learned on your own. If you can keep an eye on the waiting room, we got some people in there waiting. But ladies and gentlemen, this is where, share with me, what's something that you've learned that's a key to success?
Big enough why to drive you, give you a passion.
Find your passion?
Well, big enough why. Why am I doing this? Now, what's my motivation? Yeah.
Okay. Success is doing, all right. So failure is a key to success. I love that. Making a decision. So I'm going to say being decisive.
Reach your goal.
Curious. Reaching your goals. Is that what you said?
Yeah.
All right.
Be consistent with small steps.
Reaching goals. Consistent small steps.
Yeah.
That's something I've said before, right? There's a great quote from James Lawrence I've talked about before, the Iron Cowboy, where he says, the ability to overcome daily monotony, or to do that, the small and simple things every single day, is an underappreciated superpower.
Stop making excuses.
Say again?
Stop making excuses.
Stop making excuses. Yes, ma'am. It's like you were listening yesterday.
Andrew.
Be comfortable with the uncomfortable. There you go. I like that.
Andrew, I wasn't in the session with you, like in the call that you talked about time management. I know that this can be a little bit different subject, but you were telling me that you were going to recommend a book. So I didn't see it. Can you tell me a quick one that comes
I don't have them. I don't have them off the top of my head. They're on that recording, so you can get on that recording, and they're there. So, but time management is one. Being willing to be uncomfortable. Your vision, absolutely. I'm actually going to talk about that in a minute. Let's see. Helping others, lifting others up. Yep.
Stop looking for perfection, instead progress.
Yeah. So that goes with, Anthony wrote that too. Anthony wrote what Blake always says, which is launch imperfectly, but progress over perfection is what I'm going to put. Does that work?
Yeah, that's good.
There's a great quote I heard. How many of you guys remember a gentleman named Norman Schwarzkopf? So during the first General Norman Schwarzkopf, during the first Gulf War, he was in charge of all of the Allied troops, if I'm not mistaken, NATO and Allied troops and everything. But I got to hear him speak one time, and one of the things he talked about was taking action. Just take action. Just take those first few steps, even if they're not the right ones. If you take action, then you start to create momentum. And if I'm creating momentum, I can move, right? It's that big boulder. A lot of us deal with obstacles and all of these things, the big challenges that we have are, in a way, those boulders. But once you get them moving, it's easier to get turning. How many of you guys have ever had to push a car that was, the battery died, and you had to, this is back when everybody was driving stick shift and you would push it to give it a jump start, right? How many of you guys ever had to do that?
Me.
Those first few steps, right? Remember trying to turn the car before there's any movement at all, but once the car's moving and you have momentum, all of a sudden you can turn it. Has anybody ever driven a big truck with no power steering? My dad used to have a Dodge Power Wagon, a big old school, heavy ass black Power Wagon that, he would beat the hell up, but those things they're tanks essentially. And they have these big, huge tires, but no power steering. So trying to steer, if you weren't moving fast enough, man, I mean, that alone's an arm workout. That's one reason I always talk about my dad having big forearms and all this. I think it was more that driving that truck than anything else. Right. But once you get moving, that's where power steering, you don't need it. You're good to go because you have momentum. Right. Mm-hmm. So great quote by Norman Schwarzkopf that now 20 years later, I still remember. So, all right, here's a couple that I have. Okay. Just a couple of basics. I'm going to give you some keys and some sub keys. These are some from you. I'd like you guys to find some of your own and think about some of the things that you end up living by. And maybe that's something that we go over here in the next few days. Words that you live by, or things that you learned as a kid growing up that now when you look back, you go, damn, that put me on the wrong path. Man, that was way off. So first one, to thine own self be true, from Hamlet. To be or not to be? That is the question. Whether 'tis nobler in the minds, right? So the point of this, understand yourself, self-awareness, IQ, emotional intelligence, clarity, vision, focus, all of those things. You've got to know you if you want to be successful. Know your strengths, know your weaknesses. Don't dwell on the weaknesses because everybody else is going to do that for you. So you don't have to point out your own weaknesses. Someone else will tell you how much you suck at different things. So don't worry about that. But know them, develop out the habits you need to improve, understand where your strengths are, put time and effort into those strengths. Don't spend all your time on things you're not good at.
Andrew.
Too many of you get bogged down on struggles and neglect the things that you're good at. And so eventually those wither a little bit and the things that you struggle at get a little bit better. So we're just living in mediocrity. Maria, yeah, you got something?
Yeah, I can be annoying at times and I apologize, but I wanted to say something that I've learned from my favorite singer. He says that you have to embrace your weaknesses and don't be ashamed with them or of them. I don't know what's the correct word, but embrace them, and you, in that dark side of you, you will see shiny and light to shine to the world. I don't know if that makes sense.
I understand what our weaknesses are there and they're a part of us, and that's okay. And don't be ashamed and don't feel guilty. It's just part of what's going on. So what you need to do is kind of recognize that and move forward. And Randy's saying, outsource the things you suck at. Absolutely. The things that give you a headache. Learn enough that you're okay. And we're not talking about habits, right? We're not talking about things that you need to become better at in a day-to-day life, but there are certain skills that it's okay to not be great at. Better yourself always. Anybody that's on any of these calls understands I talk about personal development, but the biggest part of this is just being aware of who you are. Be aware of how you learn. Some of you guys are still trying to learn the way you were taught in high school, and you think that you're struggling with things, and you just haven't figured out the best way that you know, or that your body needs, or your brain needs to learn. That could be huge right there. So first key to success, be true to yourself. To thine own self be true. Number 2, it's not what you know, but who you know. Kind of. Now, what I mean is it is important to gain knowledge, and we'll talk about that. I talk about that all the time. But it is just as important at times to build relationships. With the right relationships will let you save on money. It will let you invest more money. It will let you get, further ahead in your career. All of these things, right? So build up your personal network. I've talked a lot about that. Your professional and your personal. Build up your brand, because it's not just who you know, but who you are and who knows you. because you can know a lot of people unless they know you, who you are, and how true you are to yourself, then that won't matter. Learn how to build relationships. There's an amazing books, right? How to win friends and influence people. Awesome book about relationship building.
What's the name again of that book?
How to Win Friends and Influence People by Dale Carnegie. Yeah, Randy, awesome test to find out about yourself. Back to the self-awareness one. And then learning how to communicate is important. There's a reason I talk about reading books, listening to podcasts, communicating with others. I think one of the great tragedies of the last dozen years or so with the advent of social media, as amazing as it can be, as many opportunities as it has opened up, is that many of us have forgotten how to communicate. That's why throughout the world, there are so many struggles with what is happening right now, because communication is a two-way street. It is not just one person talking at another and the other person waiting to talk back at them and everybody trying to justify who they are and what they think and what's going on. Communication is being able to empathize and understand and put yourself in other people's shoes and all of those things. So guys, learn how to communicate. Learn how to communicate verbally, learn how to do it through video, learn how to do it in your marketing, in your text, in everything that you do. Learn how to communicate. That will help you build relationships. Those relationships will become truer and more abundant, more plentiful, right? And this goes to helping others that we talked about. One of the other things someone said, help other people get what they want, and you will forever be okay with what you're looking to do on your journey towards success. Next, learn to forgive. Yeah, even that. Forgiveness is one of the most difficult things that we have as individuals, as a people, because when we are wronged, we hold on to it. At times we are wronged and we hold on to it and we blame ourselves. Learning how to forgive starts with ourselves. And if we don't learn to forgive ourselves, then the rest of it just kind of falls apart. So start with learning how to forgive yourself. I'm not going into depth on forgiveness today. That's hours and hours and hours of training. There are plenty of different places that you can learn about this. Maybe we talk about it at some point. But part of that, like the little quote from our man here at Rafiki from The Lion King, forgive not because they deserve forgiveness, but because you deserve peace. And ultimately, if you're holding on to that anger, you're never going to move on. Remember, people are fantastic. People are wonderful. People are how we get to enjoy life, but people also suck. People are crappy sometimes. And that's just part of it. Remember, forgiveness does not mean it's turning into open season, meaning you let them keep coming back and doing the same stuff over and over again. Forgiveness simply means I don't hold on to that anger and I begin to move forward in my life. And if they would like to change and improve and become better individuals, then they have an opportunity to win back your trust, but it doesn't mean you let them keep abusing that privilege. But don't hold on to it, guys. Anger is never going to get you where you're looking to go. So learn, grow, release it, and then move on. The last one I have for you today, guys, invest in yourself. A couple of different ways to do that. Investing in yourself. We're talking financially. We're talking about all sorts of other things. So number one, Man versus Food. How many of you guys have seen that show? Diners, drive-ins, and dives. There's a great guy that's on YouTube. I mean, there's a bunch of those food challenge guys that I follow. Those are awesome. Don't live your life that way, guys. Food is fuel. Food is what keeps you healthy. Food is what keeps you alive. But it's also one of the pleasures of life, and you've got to keep that balance. Some people have an unhealthy relationship with food because they're too strict. And they don't enjoy it because the only thing they look at it as is something that allows their body to function. And other people kind of dive into the dopamine release of the pleasure of food a little bit too much. You've got to have a balance. Enjoy food, but do it in moderation. But get out and experience it once in a while. Next is sleep. Randine, you don't like food. You've got to find some food that you like. There's got to be something that you enjoy eating. So next, sleep. Most of us don't sleep well, don't sleep enough, don't sleep at the right times. Fix your sleep hygiene. Next is build your brain, educate yourself, learn, grow all of the time. Experience simply means find experiences in life. I was talking about this the other day. It may be something big. It may be travel. It may be some large event. It may just be something simple. It may just be what you do today. Maybe that walk that you're outside, the sun beating on your face, and you get to smell the flowers. At least if you're living in Florida, if you're everywhere else, then go out and let the wind chill beat on your face and leave your lips chapped and your snot frozen on your nose.
Sheer magic.
Enjoy that love and stuff,
Raw sewage, love it.
Next is find your own Mr. Miyagi.
You are ours.
Well, good. Hopefully you take it the way, so if you do the homework, that's part of it, right? And this is why I say a Mr. Miyagi as opposed to just, a Confucius up on the top of the mountain. Because everybody knows who I mean by Mr. Miyagi, right? Karate Kid, the original Karate Kid. And what did he do? He made him, wax on, wax off, right? He made him paint the fence. So he made him stand and then wax the floor. He made him paint the fence and he gets upset. What am I doing? Why am I doing this? I'm just here working on your stuff. I'm working on your car. I'm sanding the deck. Why am I doing all this nonsense? And then he shows him why he was doing it. Defense, punching, moving forward, right? Guys, find people that push you to be better. I love Cobra Kai. That's one of the show I don't watch a ton of TV. That's one that I'd like to, but I haven't gotten into it. But find someone that pushes you to be better. And when you get pushed, let it wash over the ego. I'm going to mute somebody there. Let it wash over your ego, accept what's there, and move forward and get stuff done and become the best versions of yourself. So here's your challenge today, guys. I've got that. This will be up on the YouTube channel sometime in the next 24 hours. Sit down and write out some of your own. Keys to success in life. What do you need? Come up with 4 or 5 if you want to come up with subcategories like I did, but write those out and then write them out, kind of do a brain dump, sit and think about it. Top keys, skills, whatever to success in life. And then I want you to look at it from a point of view. I want you to say, okay, if I was $1 million investor, if I was a multimillionaire, a billionaire, whatever, if I was that, and I were to look at this list, would there be value there? And if the millionaire would look at your list and go, you're thinking small, that's not right, you're not pushing yourself enough, or that one's actually going to keep you from overcoming, then I want you to reevaluate. But take a moment and do a brain dump free of judgment. Just write it out, the things that you live by, the things that you've been taught, what coaches and parents and others have taught you through your life. Come up with a list of that and then evaluate it. Does that make sense for everybody? We got an idea what our homework is? Guys, take advantage of that little bit. I'm going to cut it off now. It's 12:23. Typically, you guys are here for 30, 35 minutes. Spend the next 5 to 10 minutes. Do exactly that. Get it done. Tomorrow we'll talk about it. Thursday, we're going to have a guest. I've got calls coming up and emails going out to some of you guys today, but I appreciate you guys always being on here, working to better yourselves, become the best versions of yourselves. Keep doing it. Keep pushing forward. And as always, find a way to rise up from the ashes and fly like the phoenixes that you are. Have an amazing day, guys. Write out your list. We'll talk to you soon. Take care, everybody.
Arigato.
Thank you.
Mr. Miyagi.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Obrigado, de nada.
Bye.
Ciao, ciao.